I'm alive. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of FPL Focal. How are we all doing? I've made a couple of transfers last night. For those that are up late on the Discord, last night I was I'm in an RN about making a couple of moves, and in the end I went for it. So Bruno's left my team in favour of Sterling, who's also got the armband, and Stones has left my team as well. In his place is Konsa from Villa. So the reasons I did that, well, first of all, Konsa's got a fairly good fixture. He's got Wolves, and then he's got Newcastle, and then obviously he plays in blank Gameweek 29. But the other reason was I wasn't sure if Stones would play both, and I know there's the same doubt with Sterling, but I think Sterling's just a really good differential captain, so I've picked him up. Armbands on him. As I was saying on yesterday's stream, my team just felt very template as well. For those that use Live FPL, they have a feature where it tells you how template your team is compared to others around you. And mine was something like 84% template. So basically, if I'd had a decent week, I'd barely move up. So it's a little bit of a punt, but fingers crossed it comes in. How's everyone doing? Finn, how you doing, mate? Einar, James, Matthew, Sujit, Tim, Grove, hope everyone's well. Who's everyone else got the armband on? Has to be a City player, doesn't it? It wouldn't surprise me if someone like Salah or Kane or Son does well in this game week, even though it's a single for them. But yeah, it feels like you can't look past a City player, right? Because they've got the double. But that's the difficulty, isn't it? Predicting Pep and knowing which players will play both games, because it could obviously be a single game week for those City players as well, for all we know. Einar, Focal, is Rafinha or Souček as a Bruno replacement crazy? I think Souček is. Rafinha, I can see some logic there. If you don't have Son, I think Son's probably the standout. Rafinha, I would probably pick him over Souček. I mean, earlier in the season we were all memeing about Lingard, but he's actually emerged as a decent option, I think. He's done really well. I think he's got 3 goals, 2 assists in his last 5. So 5 goal involvements in 5. And he's playing number 10 for West Ham. The only problem with Lingard is he's got Man United in Game Week 28. And obviously he can't play against his parent club because he's on loan. So he won't play that game. That'll be a blank for him. I'm really behind on chat already. Finn's gone Diaz captain. Ollie loves the bold Sterling choice. It is a bit bold. I was looking at KDB as well, but what worried me about KDB is he's been playing every game, started every game. So I do wonder if maybe he'll miss the Southampton game. I mean, it's a possibility with Sterling as well, but Sterling did have a rest in Game Week 26, the first of the double. So you would think he's safe to play both games, and therefore, if he's safe to play both games, then he's probably a better captain pick than Gundo. So that's the logic behind the Sterling pick. We'll have to see on the post Game Week 27 stream how that actually went. Farrell says, "You mad lad with Sterling on captain." It is a bit mad. It's a punt, but sometimes you've got to take calculated punts. Having Stones and Diaz just didn't feel right. It felt a bit safe, and it felt like I could end up with one of them being benched. I mean, maybe we should get onto the news, because I do have a little bit of City news, which did come into my thinking. So, in terms of City first, Nathan Ake is back. So that's now Nathan Ake, Laporte, Stones and Diaz all competing for centre-back. And so far we've seen Diaz as the nailed first choice. He's only missed 1 game, and that was due to illness. So you'd think there's potentially 3 centre-backs competing for the other spot. So it felt a bit wrong to have Stones, and that's why I ended up doing the Sterling punt. Break's got KDB for a -4 for Bruno, very nice. I think this is going to be an exciting week because it looks like the template's getting ripped up now. It's been there's been a definite template. You know, everyone's had the likes of Bruno, Kane, Son. A lot have had Salah. You know, like DCL, those sort of players. But obviously Bruno's blanked twice in a row now, and then he plays City this week. So a lot of people seem to be selling him, which is good because the template's getting ripped up, and hopefully we'll see some good options emerge. So City play Southampton, so let's start with them. So Walker Peters is back in contention, which is great news. They've massively missed him. Obviously they've had, I think it's Bednarek, he's been playing right back for them, who's absolutely not a right back. And also further down this article, Minamino's back, which is good news for them as well, because Southampton are very light at the moment. I do think Southampton will do well in that Sheffield game. I think they'll win 2 or 3-0. It's a game they really have to go for, and it's the first of the double, so I think it'll be a good game for Southampton, and they probably know deep down that they don't stand much of a chance against City. A bit more Southampton news. So obviously we saw last game week Forster starting in goal for Southampton, and Hassan Hutter was asked about that, and dropping McCarthy, and he said Forster deserves to play. He was the last one who had clean sheets for our team. Alex didn't do a great job at the moment. Momentum was not on his side. We need this momentum, so hopefully Fraser gives us that. So I've actually got Forster starting in my team this week. So I'll take it if I end up getting a jammy couple of starts from him. Hopefully a clean sheet against Sheffield, but not hopeful for City. So Dean Henderson's set for a run of games for Man U. David De Gea out for personal reasons, so not a bad backup keeper to come in, Dean Henderson. Kept 2 clean sheets in the double, so we'll have to see what happens there. Be an unfortunate way for him to you know, stake his claim to that #1 spot, you know, just because of De Gea missing out for personal reasons. So on to Everton. Ancelotti's tweaked his tactics recently, and as a result of that, we've seen Richarlison doing very well. He's scored 4 in his last 4, and Ancelotti was asked about this new diamond formation, and he said he changed the shape to give more opportunities to Sigurdsson and Richarlison. And he followed up by saying, I sacrificed a little bit of the position of Calvert-Lewin, who played a little bit centre-right, to give Richarlison less work defensively. It's not great news for those of us that own DCL. He's kind of tweaked the system to favour Richarlison more. As I said, which makes sense, having seen Richarlison score 4 in his last 4. But I'm happy to hold DCL in the meantime, because of course there's still a very small chance of a double game week 28. Failing that, it could be a double game week 30 for Everton and Villa. Quick update on Grealish. Dean Smith said he's doing much better. He's unlikely to play, but he looks pain-free. So once I sit down with the medical staff, we'll decide what he's doing today. This image courtesy of FPL updates and tips on Twitter. Well worth a follow. Yeah, I mean, Villa have massively missed Grealish. It's kind of what we thought would happen, and it has been what's happened. While Grealish has been out, Watkins has had an expected goal of 0.08, which is absolutely horrendous. So Klopp was asked about the Salah substitution. Really surprised to see him come off at about the 62nd minute against Chelsea. And of course they went on to lose that 1-0. And he said, I just brought on fresh legs. Mo looked a bit like he suffered today. He's played a lot of games. I could have taken off Mane or Firmino. That is all clear. So obviously Jota's back now, so I wonder if we'll see a bit of rotation with the front 3. Maybe Mane makes way for Jota this week. Or we could end up seeing all 4 start. We did see that happen before. I think it was a 4-2-3-1. Liverpool played earlier in the season where literally all 4 of them played. Bit more Liverpool news. Just gets from bad to worse with the Liverpool centre-back situation, but Klopp confirms that Kabak is unlikely to play against Fulham through injury. Say no more. I mean, I feel sorry for Liverpool and Liverpool fans. Anyway, that's the news roundup. How's everyone doing? Who's everyone got the armband on? Don't forget to get your votes in on the captain poll on our Discord. We'll have a look at the results of that shortly. Tim says, I'm not sure I trust anything that Dean Smith says. Yeah, good point. I mean, Grealish could be out for another month for all we know. Dean Smith was incredibly salty off the back of the whole FPL insider drama, where a lot of players and staff saw Grealish, which in essence was a leak that he was injured. And he said, I live in the real world, not a fantasy world. So a bit disrespectful to those of us that love fantasy football. Don't know who he thinks he is talking to us like that. James Yap, Thorpe and Barnes and Pope to Lingard and Forster for a -4, keeping Bruno and Salah. No Son or Bale. Not sure about Forster. It's really not clear whether he will remain first choice or whether that was just like a one-off, you know, to try and give the team a little bit of a boost. But it's it's pretty desperate, isn't it, to be bringing in a different keeper to give the team a boost. But yeah, I'm not sure if I'd do that for a -4. There's every chance that McCarthy comes back in. I like the Lingard pick. I think West Ham will do very well against Leeds. And I was very, very tempted to just go Calvert-Lewin to Antonio instead. Obviously West Ham also play in blank Gameweek 29, so West Ham got that going for them as well. But in the end, I didn't bother going for that, just in case we ended up with the double in 28 or 30. Grove asks Dallas or Digne to start. I would start Dallas out of the two. I do wonder if it would be a good week for defenders again though. We saw in the double, you know, when those fixtures come in thick and fast like they are right now, you don't see teams blowing other teams away 3-0, 4-0. You don't see high scoring games, you know, no 2-alls, anything like that. We saw something like 9 1-0s. I think we had 3 0-0s. So, you know, a lot lower scoring than you'd like. So that's probably why we saw the defenders do so well in the double. You know, in my case, Stones got me 12, I think. Diaz got me 14. Digne got me something like 16. It was a good double game week for the defenders. A quick update on the Premier League players, FPL League. This is something I think we should start tracking each week because it's interesting to see what the players are doing, who they're captaining, what chips they're using. So this is just players that are actually playing in the Premier League, and FPL Bot.app have created a virtual league of all of those players. James Justin way in front at the moment. He's ranked 11k overall, 1,747 points. He used his triple captain on Kane in the double. McKinn, Bartley, Maguire, Grant, Target, all up there as well. All of them the top 1 mil. And then our boy Basuma, still rock bottom. Basuma has had himself set and forget captain all season. What a legend. Back to the Kings of the Game Week. So this is how it stands. Briefly mentioned this on yesterday's stream. It was Bale that joined the Kings with his 21 pointer in the double. So that makes it 26 weeks in a row, game weeks in a row, that we've had unique players. Still yet to have a repeat. Curious to as to who the first repeat will be. Because we've had the likes of Salah, Son, DCL, Bruno, all made the Kings the game week before. And they've had double game weeks since then, but still no repeats. So this is another thing we'll track each week. Ninja asks, Martinez or Loris? I would probably go Martinez. Chad, how we doing? Concert or Cresswell to start? Cresswell. Sean, do I play Rudiger or Rafinha? I would play Rafinha. I mean, Rudiger's his ceiling's pretty much just 6 points, isn't it? But Rafinha, you never know. Rafinha could pop up with a goal, assist, both in any given week. So you'd have to go for the player with the highest ceiling. Even though Chelsea have been exceptional defensively, I think I'd still go for Rafinha between the two there. Massive thank you everyone that has tuned in so far. AD, Chad, Einar, Gary, Grove, HS Lee, James, Ninja, Pratius, Prowie, Sean, Tim, Vabel, Vucci. Appreciate you all being here. Sorry if I've missed any messages. Don't forget to like the video while you're here, and if anyone's not subbed to the channel, don't forget to subscribe as well. Be good to have you back on future streams. As always, we do the deadline stream and then we do the post-game week streams as well. With my co-host here, Teddy. He just does what he wants. Yeah, good point. So Tim says Gundogan still hasn't been a king. Which is surprising, right? Considering some of the returns he's put up. Gameweek 24, he got 2 goals and an assist for 19 points, but he still didn't make it then. Back in Gameweek 20, he got a brace. Gameweek 23, he also got a brace, but yeah, he's yet to make the Kings of the game week. Maybe it'll be Gundo that joins. Maybe that'll be 2027 unique players in the Kings. Grove asks, how long was Grealish out for? The problem is it's Dean Smith. The problem is it's Dean Smith, so we don't really know. He's been very coy with us lately. You know, he could say, oh, he's still out for a while, and then he ends up playing this weekend. Or he could say, I think he said he's pain-free, which sounds like he's you know, almost back, but he could say that and he's not back for 2 or 3 game weeks. So I don't think we really have a clear picture, to be honest with you. Dean Smith's been he's holding his cards close to his chest, following all the leaks. HS says KDB or Gundo for cap. Both are equally promising, but I feel KDB will rise up for the big games. Yeah, go with your gut on that one. It's difficult to call that one or the other, but I would probably go KDB as well if I had him. Let's have a look at the Goalscorer Odds for Gameweek 27. So some of the names that stand out here. Salah's actually got a 65% chance of a clean sheet against Fulham. Harry Kane, 58% chance of a goal against Palace. They're playing at home this game week. Son, 50% chance of a goal. Antonio, 44.8% chance. I've seen some people on Twitter have gone triple captain Antonio. Love that pun. Lacazette, 50.8% chance. Aubameyang, 49.6% chance. In terms of the City United game, Jesus is top with 42.8% chance of a goal, followed by Gundo and then Sterling. My boy Sterling, Captain Sterling. And in terms of the clean sheet odds, it is as follows. So the highest clean sheet odds this game week is City's second game against Southampton, 49.5% chance of a clean sheet. Tottenham with their home game against Palace, 47% chance. Liverpool with their home game against Fulham, also 47. Chelsea 43, Arsenal 42. City's first game of the double against United, 39.5% chance of a clean sheet. Patrick, how are we doing? He says bench 2 of DCL, Dina, Rafinha or Konsa. I think I would go Dina on the bench and Konsa on the bench. But I think that Chelsea game is going to be really tough for Everton. Chelsea have been exceptional defensively since Tuchel took over. I have put together a little table of offensive and defensive stats since Gameweek 20, which was when Tuchel joined, and spoiler, Chelsea are the best defensively in that period. Morning, Harry. Thoughts on Bruno to Aubameyang? I've seen a lot of people are going for the Aubameyang punt. What worries me is he missed one. He missed. I think it was the last game week. I think he was on the bench. I think he's safe to start, but it's slightly worrying that we've seen that. But also, he's not in the form of last season, right? So it depends on your chips, really. As a short-term punt, yeah, it's not the worst shout. But you wouldn't want to be stuck with him long-term, you know. After 29, it's Liverpool at home, so, you know, not a great fixture. I don't think you'd want to have Aubameyang long-term. Personally, what I did is I sold Stones and Bruno, and I brought in Sterling and Konsa, because obviously Konsa plays in the blank, as does Aubameyang. It's a massive punt, Aubameyang. Personally, not for me, from an Arsenal perspective. Not feeling it. But I can see the logic. Have you got Son, Harry? I think Son's the obvious move if you're selling Bruno. He's got a good fixture this week and he plays in the blank. But if it's a 3-week punt, then, you know, why not? Vavel, Dallas for Willian or Target to start? Dallas for Willian. I would start Target out of those three. And then Dallas and then Willian. So we're about the halfway mark to the deadline. So let's pause for a minute with a little round of who's that player. So I'm going to show some cutouts on screen of players, and you have to try and guess who the player is. So here is the first one. Who's that player? I'm going to catch up on chat. Sean says, out of these 3 players, which 2 players and which one goes on the bench? Rudiger, Rafinha, Konsa. I would bench Konsa out of those 3. Chad says, should I get Saka instead of Barnes and Son instead of Bruno for -4, or give Bruno one last chance? The problem is, if you give Bruno one last chance, then you've got the West Ham home fixture afterwards, so then you're kind of stuck with him because you don't want to sell him for that game. So I think it has to be now or never if you're getting rid of Bruno. And I think Son's the obvious pick, as I say. Oh, everyone's got it. Bloody hell, that must have been an easy one. That's amazing. Finn's got it. Ings, Sean Ings, Dylan, Danny Ings, James Ings, Ben Ings, Chad Ings, Grove Ings, Michael Ings. Yeah, you guys got it. It was Danny Ings. Anyone in chat still got Danny Ings? Obviously got the double game week this week. Starting with the Sheffield fixture. I think he'll actually do well in the double. Mainly the Sheffield game, because Sheffield are missing Egan, Basham, O'Connell. Jagielka got a red card in the last game. So they're missing a lot of players. You have to feel Southampton go for that one. Anyway, let's get on to the next one. Who's that player? It's the subtle things, I think, that give you hints that you don't realise you pick up on until you're looking at the cutouts. Like with Danny Ings, there was nothing particularly obvious in the cutout, but I think it's things like the posture, maybe like the head shape and the hair. Finn guesses Edison, Sean guesses Edison, Ninja says Edison, Ollie says Stones, Chanuf says Edison. A lot of guesses for Edison. Chad says Edison, Chanuf says Leno, Prowie reckons it's Stones. Grove and Fantasy and Stuart and Charles and Michael all guess Edison as well. You got it. It was Edison. Pretty good today, chat, with this. Alright, let's see if you get the last one. Who's that player? Can't believe how good chat is today. Are these too easy, these ones? I was trying to think of players that would be difficult, but not too difficult, you know. So Ben says guesses Diaz, Finn says Diaz, Ninja Aiden, Kevin Dillon, Diaz. Finn says it's the ears that give it away. Oh yeah, he's got an ear, asymmetrical ears. Fantasy Grove Ninja all guessing Diaz. So Ukraine guesses Lingard. Ollie says Cancelo. Charles reckons it's Diaz. Grove says it's the best centre back in the league. His guess was Diaz. The answer was, it was Diaz. Do you guys agree with that he's the best centre back in the league? I do think he's had a similar effect on City that Van Dijk did on Liverpool. I mean, this season their defence has been completely ridiculous. Anyway. So yeah, this is how I'm lining up for this game week. So I made 2 moves last night. I sold Bruno and I sold Stones, and I brought in Sterling and Konsa. Armband on Sterling. Konsa obviously has Wolves at home. Wolves have been pretty dodgy on the road so far this season. And of course Villa play in blank game week 29, so that was the other reason he was my move. I had exactly 4.6 to spend, otherwise I probably would have gone for Target if I could afford him. Kevin asks, Stones for Reguilon this week. The problem with Reguilon is he's not guaranteed to start, much like Stones. So you're going from a player that might not start to another player that might not start. I can see the logic because you're looking ahead to blank game week 29, right? But you'd really kick yourself if you wasted a transfer on Reguilon and he ends up not playing against Villa in 29. He's a great option, Reguilon. He was someone that I talked about in the Game Week 26 deadline stream, and I said I wouldn't be surprised if the likes of Reguilon and Digne do well in this double. And they both did well, but Reguilon obviously missed the second game, but he did get the assist and clean sheet in the first. So it's a little bit risky. I think you just have to be wary of the risk with that one. If Reguilon was nailed, he'd be a standout option, I think, for the coming game weeks, but it's just that small risk. Dylan asks, play Martinez and Target, or Martinez and Dallas, or Martinez and Dunk. So it's just Target, Dallas, or Dunk. I would play... Yeah, it feels a bit wrong to double up on the Villa defence, but it would be between Target and Dallas for me. Bit of a coin toss, that one. I'd probably go Dallas just to hedge my bets, but you know, it depends where you are in the ranks. If you want to play safe, then I'd say Dallas. But if you're looking to explode up the ranks, then go for the double Villa defence. Grove says, is Jota back? Yeah, Jota's back. So we saw him come on as a substitute in the Chelsea game in Game Week 26. So yeah, Jota's back and fit. He hasn't started yet since returning, but he is back, which is something to also be aware of if you own the likes of Salah. CFC asks, is Jota a good replacement for Barnes? It feels like it might be a game week too early to jump on Jota, but he could be. It's just a bit of a gamble, you know. He's not played for how many weeks? Liverpool. Jota. So the last time we saw Jota was back in Gameweek 11, which is a lifetime ago in FPL. You know, so much changes so quickly in FPL. You know, every few weeks, you know, the meta and the template can completely change in FPL. So Gameweek 11 really was a lifetime ago, and he's been out since then. So, as I say, maybe it's a gamble to bring him in now. It's not guaranteed that he's going to be starting. He might, but just have to be aware of the gamble. Failing that, there's some other options that could be good alternatives, like Rafinha. Rafinha plays in blank Gameweek 29. Saka plays in the blank. If you've got a good bench, then you could punt on someone like Lingard for this week. He's got a very good fixture against Leeds. I think he'll do well. Let's have a look at the scout pick for Gameweek 27. So this is who they've gone for. I'll just read the names out. So they've gone Johnston, Alexander-Arnold, Diaz, Vestergaard, KDB captain, Aubameyang, Son, Gundogan, Ings, Bamford and Antonio. Interesting picks this week. Quite a few differentials in there, especially Aubameyang. What do you guys think of the scout pick this week? Almost smashed through my tea and there's still 20 minutes till the deadline. Yeah, we're doing Rate My Teams Ninja. Yeah, I tend to get to the Rate My Teams in the second half of the deadline stream, because there's normally lots I've prepared to get through in the first half. Yeah, feel free to chuck your IDs in the chat and I will do my best to have a look at some of them. CFC says, who is a good replacement for David De Gea? It would have to be someone who plays in blank Gameweek 29. Unless, of course, you plan to free hit then. But let's pull up the fixtures for the coming game weeks. So if you're going to get rid of David De Gea and you don't plan to free hit or wildcard in 29, then I would say it's got to be one of these players that plays here in this column. So Arsenal, Villa, Brighton, Fulham, Leeds, Newcastle, Spurs and West Ham are the only teams that are going to be playing in Game Week 29. So you could consider Martinez from Villa. You could downgrade to Sanchez from Brighton. He's only 4.5. I think both of those are really strong picks. Besides that, there's not really any standouts. You could go sideways to someone similarly priced like Lloris. Sorry, I got a bit of a cold, so I'm muting my mic. Let's have a look at some Rate My Teams. Let's start with Wuxi's team. Don't forget to get your votes in on the captain poll. We'll have a look at the results of that fairly soon. So this is Wuxi's team, 114 points in Game Week 26. Massive score. Very nice. Played your bench boost. And you've done Barnes to Lingard. Yeah, I mean, looks strong. So you're going to start Cancelo, you start Diaz. Who's your third defender? Probably Rudiger. So who are you going to be benching in that case, Wuxi? You've got a bit of a headache with who to bench here from the squad, but Lingard, you have to start him. So therefore, it'd have to be maybe Bruno. Do you bench Bruno? Anyone in chat benching Bruno this game week? But I like the Lingard move. Team looks good, in good shape. You're looking well set for the coming game weeks. Let's have a look at James's team. 99 points in double game week 26. Another Barnes owner. Nothing in the bank, 1 free transfer. I think you can actually get away with rolling the transfer here. Wow, did Thomas get -1 over the double? What did he do? Oh, he got a red card, did he? Didn't know that. Oh, that's unfortunate. Yeah, I actually think you can afford to roll the transfer here, unless you wanted to take, you know, a 1-week punt on someone like Lingard. Obviously, Lingard blanks in 28, but he could do very well in 27. But you could start Rafinha, to be honest with you. Roll the transfer and then reassess next game week. I don't think you necessarily have to make a move here. You know, Rafinha is quite an obvious pick for those selling Barnes, but we've already got him, so I'd be tempted to roll the transfer if that was my team. Stuart asks, Captain Gundogan or Son? I think it has to be Gundogan, just purely because he's got the double. You know, mathematically, he's likelier to return because he plays twice, or should play twice. Pep Roulette forgiven, of course. Let's have a look at Aiden's team. So massive scores here, 105 points for Aiden. 1 free transfer. We've got Maddison. Yeah, Maddison, it looks like he's going to be out long term. I think Roger said there's no timeline on him returning yet. So this week you start Cancelo, you start Regulon, you start Mings, you start Cresswell. So it'll be 4-4-2. Tielemans, interesting pick. It's a bit boring, but I think you can also afford to roll the transfer. Otherwise, if you sell Maddison, then you're gonna have to bench Tielemans, which you could do. Again, you could take a 1-week punt on someone like Lingard. Richarlison, he's given you no reason to sell him. Well played with the Richarlison pick. I mean, I think most of us went for DCL over Richarlison, and Richarlison's the player in form. 4 goals in his last 4. Potential double game week 28, or maybe double game week 30. Yeah, I think I would be tempted to roll the transfer as well with this team. You can bench me, you can bench Maddison, you can bench Brewster, and then next week with your 2 free transfers, you can reassess from there. Maybe by then we'll have news of a double, or if not, you can prepare for the blank in 29. Thanks everyone that has tuned in so far. Don't forget to like the video while you're here, if you have liked the stream of course, and subscribe if you're not subscribed to the channel. Before we do more Rate My Teams, let's have a look at the expected points for Gameweek 27, which should help answer some captaincy questions as well. So this is courtesy of FPLreview.com, and they've got their own algorithm which is more predictive than Bookies Odds. So in terms of expected points, Sterling they've actually got out on top with 11.1 points, followed by KDB, Mahrez. I mean, it's all City, obviously because of their double. Then Jesus, Ederson, Cancelo, Diaz. Danny Ings, 7.1 predicted points. They've predicted McCarthy to come back in here, so 7 points for him. I think if you've got McCarthy, then you have to start him just in case he does play both. But the worst case scenario, Forster plays the first, McCarthy plays the second. Gundogan only on 6.7 predicted points. They've only estimated 60 minutes for him on average across the 2 games. So we'll have to see there. In terms of single game weekers, Kane and Salah are highest with 6.6 and 6.2 expected points. Ratsk asks, when will you sort out your bench? Good question. I do need to sort my bench out. I brought in Smith Rowe in double game week 26 with a view to having him at my disposal for the blank in 29. You know, not a big player to call upon, but he was my Dina and Kane enabler, so I was more than happy to get him in to enable that. But then he went off injured, like, you know, half an hour into the game. So hopefully he'll be back and fine by the time we get to the blank. Mitchell's a problem. but I rarely have to call upon him. And Dini's not the worst player to have on your bench. So I think no immediate plans to sort the bench out. But what I'll likely do is wildcard in 30 or 31. So you know, the bench is only a short-term problem anyway. Adam asks, who are you captaining? So I've got the armband on Sterling. What do you guys think? Sterling or Gundo? Or Diaz? "15 minutes till the deadline. Who have you guys got the armband on?" We'll have a look at the captain poll results in a second, so don't forget to get your votes in on our Discord. If anyone's not in the Discord, there's a link in the description. Really useful FPL resource, our Discord, which I'm sure those in it can vouch for. We've got things like the price changes, the lineups, the live scores, injury updates, bonus points, Gameweek stats, top 10k stats. One of my favourite channels, the Insider Trading channel. Be interesting to see what moves we see happen this game week off the back of some of the recent drama. The news channel, transfer trends, and a new channel that is not public yet, but I think I'm gonna post it today or open it today. It's called Disaster Class, and this was just an idea I had, where it's a channel, again automated by bots, of all the disasters in FPL. So things like missed penalties, red cards, own goals, and also the worst transfers and the worst scores in game weeks. So for example, in Gameweek 26, Mark Fail, his name's actually Mark Fail and his team's the Failures. He was ranked 4k overall and he scored 34 points in Gameweek 26, so he dropped from 4k to 31k. And the worst transfers in Gameweek 26 was Mohamed, and he sold Richarlison and he sold Azpilicueta. Maddison makes sense, but he sold Richarlison Azpilicueta, which was a loss of 25 points. He must have had a decent game week overall, because the deal still actually went up from 169th to 128, but he would have been 25 points better off. Anyway, onto the captain poll. So Gundogan is the top pick, 41 votes for Gundo, followed by Diaz, interestingly. We have seen defenders do well in doubles time and time again, so maybe it's about time we back to defender. Diaz second there with 23 votes. De Bruyne's on 15, Cancelo's on 6. 3 votes for Ings, interesting. Only 2 votes for Sterling. I haven't put my vote in yet, so I'll do that now. There we go, Sterling. 6 votes for other. If anyone in chat's gone other, let me know who you've gone for. Anyway, yeah, as I say, there's a link to the Discord in the description, and after these streams finish, the party always carries on the Discord, so I'll be on there throughout this game week. Stuart asks, start Dallas over Bruno, as mad as that sounds. Yeah, it's a tough one. Start Dallas over Bruno. I think I would still start Bruno, if I'm honest. You know, you'll really kick yourself if Dallas, you know, ends up losing 3-0 to West Ham with a 1-pointer, and Bruno, you know, United win a penalty, something like that. You know, and it's still Bruno at the end of the day. You know, I know he's blanked twice in a row. He's got a pretty poor record against the top 6, but it is Bruno. You know, with these world-class players, you can't rule them out in any given game week. So I think I'd still start Bruno. Lightis is sticking with captain son. Good luck, Lightis. Hope that pays off. Ronaldo123 did as well. CFC says, is Regulon a risk? He is a risk, yeah. In the double game week 26, we saw him play the first game, and then the second game, Davies started instead. So he's definitely a risk. Let's have a look at Ninja's team. 114 points for Ninja. Very nice. Bench boost played. You said you're captaining Gundo and using the free hit in 29. You've got Rafinha for Barnes. So you're starting Antonio. So I guess you're going to be benching Wan-Bissaka. They've got Adams as well, though. Who are you benching here, Ninja? You got a problem in your hands here with this bench. I mean, Adams has got the double, right? I feel like you have to start him because he's got the double. I know he's out of form, but, you know, as I said earlier in the stream, Sheffield are missing basically their first four first choice centre-backs, so I think Southampton win that game, and I think they win it 2 or 3-0. You feel like they'll turn it around at some point very soon. City I don't think they'll beat, but Sheffield's a very good fixture for them, you know, because of how many players Sheffield are missing in centre-back. And then they've got some decent fixtures after City. You know, Brighton at home, Burnley at home, West Brom away, Palace at home. So you fancy them to turning around at some point. You know, they have done before. And I'd back them to do it again. They've just been unfortunate with injuries and players out. A very quick look at the defensive stats since Game Week 20. This was something I've put together for you guys. Yeah, I picked Game Week 20 because it's fairly recent, you know, should indicate recent form, and also it's because it's since Tuchel took over Chelsea. And you can see here, in terms of expected goals conceded, Chelsea best out of all teams in the league with only 3.8 expected goals over the last 6. I forget if I actually did it, but I did mean to include a link to this in the description. I did, yeah. And this is a measurement of not just XG conceded, but some other important defensive stats. So things like the big chances conceded, how many clean sheets they've kept, attempts in the box they've conceded. You know, that's the area that you don't want your defenders to be conceding shots in the box. Goals conceded, the minutes per big chance conceded. So again, in Chelsea's case, 151 minutes per big chance conceded. So that's what, like every game and a half they concede a big chance, which is crazy over the last 6. You know, even better than City. And also offensive stats over that period. So City way out in front, as you'd expect here, with 17.7 expected goals over the last 6 game weeks. I just realised I'm blocking the bottom of the you can see there Palace, 5 expected goals over the last 6. Horrendous. And it kind of paints a picture and reinforces your suspicions when you look at the data like this, because in Palace's case they're missing Zaha, of course, and they've been doing poorly without him, and the data backs it up. They've only had 5 expected goals. But yeah, in terms of the highest, so yeah, City were out in front, but it's just unbelievable how much Brighton have underperformed both their XG conceded and expected goals scored. As I say, there's a link to that table in the description as well if anyone wanted to have a more detailed look at that. Hendo says, thoughts on KDB captain? Yeah, I like the KDB captain. He's definitely a good option for this game week. Obviously he played both games in the double, so I suppose there's a small amount of doubt that he misses one of the games, and you'd think it'd be the Southampton if he misses one at all, but a strong captain. Oh, is it last? Yeah, you're right, Ollie, last 7. So game week 20 to 26, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 20. Yeah, that's 7. I can't do maths. In my head I did 20 plus 6 is 26, but yeah, of course it's 7. Anyway, the idea was it's since Tuchel took over Chelsea, which was in game week 20. About 5 minutes till the deadline, everyone. Make sure your bench is in the right order. Team's set to go. We'll have a nice chill last 5 minutes till the deadline. No panic. Everything's good. Or do I start Dina instead of DCL? No. Oops. Keep it halal. Bench DCL or Bruno. That's a tough one as well. I would probably bench DCL if I had to pick. So that one's a bit of a coin toss. I have to mention, because I've not mentioned in this stream, that obviously I don't have a crystal ball. If I knew the outcomes of these questions, then I would be first in the world, because I'd get every decision right, wouldn't I? So, you know, if anything I say doesn't come into fruition, then please don't come back and at me. But that's what I would do if it was my team. Hope that helps. Ratsk asks, keep Pereira or swap for someone in 2 game weeks. Keep both. Oh, is that the wait? What? I should read these before in my head before I read them out loud. Is that in response to someone else? Ratsk says start Lascelles over Saka this game week. No, I'd start Saka definitely, and he's had a rest, so yeah, definitely Saka. Yeah, Ollie says, yeah, hard to play DCL versus Chelsea this week, but not bad player to have on the bench. Yeah, definitely. Likewise in my case with Digne. It'd be between starting Digne and DCL for me. And I think DCL just edges it, but yeah, I'm not sure what I can expect from DCL against Chelsea, considering how good they've been. Nico asks, Barnes to Jota. The problem with Jota, as I mentioned earlier, he's just come back from a very long-term injury. We hadn't seen him since game week 11. So it's unclear if he's going to come straight into the starting 11 yet, or whether they'll ease him in. He's a great punt because absolutely no one's got him right now. No one that's still playing the game actively. And if he starts against Fulham, you know, he could do very well. So I think it depends on your overall rank as well. You know, if you're looking for a punt to send yourself up the ranks, then yeah, go for it, but might be a week too early. Halal says, I'm really stuck between Diaz or KDB captain right now. Yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, as I say, historically we've seen defenders do well in doubles, which makes sense because the fixtures are, you know, thick and fast. So therefore there's not as many goals. But the midfielders and attackers obviously have a higher ceiling, so it's that risk and reward, isn't it? You know, with Diaz, realistically, you're hoping for 2 clean sheets, aren't you? Whereas with the likes of KDB, you'd want him to get a goal, assist, 2 goals, whatever, 2 assists, something like that. 3 minutes till the deadline. Not even that, 2 minutes. Massive thank you everyone that has tuned in. Don't forget to like the video while you're here. Really appreciate everyone that has swung by so far. Apratim, CFC, Owen, Keep It Halal, Marcus, Mayo, Nico, Ollie, Ratsk, Robski. Appreciate you all tuning in. Robski asks, Suchek or Rafinha? Rafinha. Marcus says, start Dallas or Digne. Oh, that's a really tough one. Probably Dallas. Lalu, sorry for the people. Who to play, Dallas, Sufal or me? Sufal and Dallas. CFC is Barnes to Saka a good option? Yeah, Saka's definitely a good option. He's had his rest, as I say, and he plays in blank Gameweek 29, so he looks a pretty good option for the next 3. You know, Barnes isn't going to play at all, but even if he was, if you're making that move, then you'd gain an extra fixture. So I can see the logic in it. Sensible move. Rafinha is the other one who's a good option. Rafinha and Saka. Rat says, thank you for the live stream and for the help. Absolute pleasure. Yeah, I won't be sticking around much longer after the deadline hits. I'm heading straight out. I had an absolute panic just before going live. Literally 5 minutes before I went live, I took the dog outside to the garden and the front door shut behind me. So I was like, oh god, oh no. I'm actually locked out. And luckily I had a spare key in my garage and was able to get in and make it back in time. But that's why I started the stream a couple of minutes late. Because I locked myself out. That's what I get though, for leaving it all last minute. Right, we made it. I think that's the deadline, everyone. As I say, thank you so much everyone for tuning in. I won't be sticking around today, but I appreciate you all being here. So don't forget to like the video before you go. If you're not subbed to the channel, don't forget to sub. Hope everyone has a great mini double game week 27. And I will see you guys for a post game week 27 stream. Cheers, guys.